Are we live?
Wait. Okay.
I see it says YouTube.
You see YouTube? Okay. 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 I see it. Okay. All righty, we are ready. Good evening. Welcome to Benjamin E. Mays High School GoTeam meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noted. I am pleased to call this meeting of the Benjamin E. Mays High School GoTeam to order. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take the roll.
I'll take roll in this case. When you hear your name, simply just say present or here. Dr. Ramon Garner,
Present.
Kajara Anderson, Pamela Bryant, Kaya Cody.
Ms. Bryant is here though.
Okay. All right. I'll take that as present. Myself, Andrew Dunn, Elizabeth Raymond, Jasmine Smith,
Here.
Khalifa Lee.
I'm here.
Okay. Rejoice Jones,
Here.
Kimberly Jenkins,
Here.
Malachi Youngblood, and Tomia Price. Or Tamaya Price, excuse me. That's the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn.
Mhm.
This team will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Mr. Dunn, is there a quorum present?
Yes, a quorum is present.
Thank you. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you and copies are here. Please take a moment to review the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay or raise your hand. Any abstentions? Please identify yourself or raise your hand. Thank you.
Ms. Jenkins, can you please give me the name of the person that motioned to approve the agenda?
Yes, that was Ms. Rejoice Jones.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then the second was Mr. Andrew Dunn.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. We will review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided. Are there any corrections? Okay, since there are no corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
Motion to approve.
Okay, that was Ms. Rejoice Jones. May I have a second?
I second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Andrew Dunn. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All opposed, please say nay or raise your hand. Any abstentions? Please identify yourself or raise your hand. Thank you. We will now move to excuse me, getting tongue-tied. We will now move to the discussion items on our agenda. Due to the new requirement from the state and district offices. Modifications to our gifted program are necessary. I would ask that Dr. Garner, the principal, please provide an overview of the changes and how that will affect our school.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Dr. Ramon Garner here, very proud principal of Benjamin Elijah Mays High School. So updates on our delivery model. This year and in the past years, and even for next year, the state and the district has allowed schools to be able to use what's called a collaboration method for gifted students, meaning if you don't have a certain amount of gifted teachers to teach all of the courses that gifted students are taking, then the teacher that is gifted, certified in that content area, can go and assist the teacher who is not gifted certified, right? And that will give you the allow you to receive the funding for gifted students. Well, that rule is changing after next year. So next year, the collaboration model is still accepted, but 26-27 school year, it will not. Only gifted certified teachers will be able to teach gifted students. And so what we're doing here at Mays is we want to get ahead of that curve and have more gifted certified teachers in front of our students. And our hope is that our gifted population continues to grow. So what we're doing is we have 6 teachers who are going to be gifted certified training next week. And then the district opened up another gifted training session for us specifically, I believe in the month of March, to get another 6 teachers gifted certified. So my plan is to not have collaboration within our gifted model even next year, so that we're not waiting until the following year. And we believe that our gifted teachers, our gifted students need to be with teachers who have that certification. So that's the proposed change, and that's what Mays will be doing, as I said, next year, having more teachers trained to be able to make sure that gifted students are in front of gifted certified teachers.
The first session of gifted certification for the teachers you said is in March, and when was the second session?
No, the first one is next week. So in
Okay,
February, right? The next section will be in
March.
March.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Garner. For the next few meetings, we will be focusing on creating a budget for the next school year. We need to ensure this budget aligns with our strategic plan and address our strategic priorities. We need to confirm our meeting schedule we need to confirm our meeting schedule allows us to complete the budget within the district's required timeline. We need to have a draft budget completed prior to Friday, February 14, 2025. Then we need to have the final budget approval meeting after Dr. Garner's staffing conference and before Friday, March 14th, 2025. Dr. Garner, when is your staffing conference scheduled to take place?
My apologies, team. Wasn't, I didn't know I was gonna have to have the date right here. I'm looking on my calendar though. It is on the calendar, so give me 1 second. My staffing conference is February 25th at 9:30 a.m.
Thank you, Dr. Garner. We'll move to our next item on the agenda, which will be the budget allocation presentation. Thank you for the information. We will now take a minute, to look at our meeting schedule and determine if we can meet the expectation and timeline. I'm sorry. So due to the snow and everything, we had to move. So this meeting was originally last week. And then we're gonna move the February 25th meeting to February 11th. And then the meeting that was scheduled for March 18th will now be on March 11th. So according to the deadline, I think we will be able to meet that deadline. So we'll now move to the next item, which will be the budget allocation presentation. We will now proceed to the budget allocation presentation. Dr. Garner will share our school's allocations and present the proposed request for signature program and turnaround funds.
Yes, do we need, Ms. Barnett, this may be a question for you. Do we need to take a vote? In
Yes,
order to
just to
move?
make sure that everyone can attend on those dates, because you'll definitely need a quorum.
I apologize. Okay.
So can you give me those dates again, Ms.
Yes.
Jenkins?
Yes, ma'am. So the meeting that was scheduled for February 25th will now be February 11th, 5:15. And then the meeting that was originally scheduled for March 18th will now be March 11th. And I do apologize. Okay, so we do need to take a vote. All right. Okay,
I
go ahead,
motion,
Ms. Bryant.
I move that we accept the dates of February the 11th and March the 11th as the new meeting dates for the budget.
May I get a second?
A second.
That was Ms. Jasmine Smith, Ms. Bryant.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay or raise your hand. Any abstentions? Please identify yourself or raise your hand. Okay, thank you. So it has been approved, for the new meetings, and we'll make sure that we'll update on our official calendar as well. Thank you.
All right, is it on me?
Yes, sir. Now we'll move to the budget allocation presentation.
Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. All right, our norms have not changed. So I'll give you a second to take a look at those before we move forward. All right, next slide. So our school's strategic plan, which we've been talking about, pretty much all year, we've already voted on our strategic priorities and ranked them in the order in which as a team, we've decided, we need to focus on. And so, we started out step one with our data review. Step two, our strategic plan review. Step three was budget parameters and strategic priorities. And now we're at the budget development process. Next slide. So what? During the first GoTeam meeting, the principal will provide an overview of the budget and position allocations, requests for turnaround and or signature program funds, and review changes to the gifted services delivery model. Why? This meeting provides an opportunity for the principal and GoTeam to ensure alignment on the school's key strategic priorities, gain a deeper understanding of the budget and position allocations, discuss the proposed requests for signature program funds, and provide input to drive the development of the draft budget. And that is between January 16th and January 31st. Next slide. So my role is to design the budget and propose operational changes that can raise student achievement, formulate strategies and implement and manage them at the school level, focus on the day-to-day operations, serve as the expert on the school, hire quality instructional and support personnel, and then collaborate with the GoTeam on the use of the school level flexibility for position allocations, turnaround initiatives, and signature program, which is a new process. We'll talk about what this process looks like for next year. The GoTeam's role is to focus on the big picture, positions and resources, not people. Ensure that the budget is aligned to the school's mission and vision, and that resources are allocated to support key strategic priorities, and then collaborate with the principal on the use of school level flexibility for position allocations, turnaround initiatives, and signature programs. Next slide. Here is our strategic plan. In the boxes up above, we spoke about, increasing the percentage of students who graduate in 4 years to 92% by this year. We want to increase the percentage of students scoring developing, proficient, and distinguished in the course assessment by 5% by the end of this year. We want to increase the percentage of students scoring developing in the course assessment and numeracy by 5%. And then we want to increase our CCRPI attendance percentage rate by 3% from 41.6 to 44.6 by the end of this school year. Next slide. So here's our ranking that we agreed upon as a team. One, it is to retain and continue to develop high-performing faculty, build teacher capacity to support an increase in mastery for students, strengthen the implementation of IB, utilize flexible learning tools, technology, integration, and target instruction to personalize learning for all students, implement whole child systems of support that integrate social-emotional learning, behavior wellness, and comprehensive academic intervention plans, provide wraparound services to address the academic, emotional, and behavioral needs of students, increase milestone scores, and then increase graduation rate. Next. So now we will discuss the of our budget allocation. All right. This budget represents an investment plan for our schools, students, employees, and the community as a whole. The budget recommendations are tied directly to the school's strategic vision and direction. The proposed budget for general operations of the school are reflected at $18,715,266. This investment plan for fiscal year 26 accommodates a student population that is projected to be 1,320 students, which is a decrease of 58 students from FY25. What I want to say about that is the district sends projections to each school principal. And what I learned last year, my first year as principal, is that sometimes the projections can be kind of ambitious. And for us, we had a 1,378 projected enrollment last year. And even though our enrollment went up, it did not go up to 1,378. It ended up at around 1,341, I believe, which, was a decrease of about 38 students, which per pupil was around over $5,000. So we ended up losing around $200,000, which what happens is if you don't have that money in the reserves and you don't hit your projections, then you lose staff and you lose people. So I personally asked for a more conservative projection this year, which is why it's down. I did want to add that note. Next slide. All right, and this is an example of what the next slide will be, which will be our actual numbers. But you'll see fiscal year 2026 as compared to fiscal year 2025, which are in the red circles, and then the change between the two. Next slide. All right, so here are our actual numbers. For FY26, you can see we have $18,715,266, as opposed to last year we had $18,194,049. The change of 58 students is about $521,000 to $521,217. And so this is the layout. So you say, oh, wow, we have more money this year, a larger budget this year than last year, but we'll show you a few more things here shortly. Next slide. So again, last year, this year you can see around signature and turnaround, you see $0 budgeted out. As opposed to last year, for signature, we had $402,510. And for turnaround, we had $213,084. And so again, principals have to build that budget out and kind of ask for what's needed and present data as rationale for positions that we are asked for, and those positions are funding that we are asking for. And we've been told that it does not guarantee that you will receive those asks. Therefore, it is not guaranteed. Next slide. This is an example of, our earned, funded, and staffed positions and the differences between the two. So the next couple slides will just show what May's earned and what is being funded this year. I haven't gone in. I could tell you now there will be adjustments and changes, and at our next meeting, I'll have a more detailed proposal to you as to exactly what I'm proposing we do and how we essentially fund the schools and staff the school. But at this time, I want you to see, how we are staffed last year as opposed to what the district has staffed and earned this year. So next slide. So these are actual numbers, and these didn't change a whole lot at this moment because I haven't changed anything. So you can just see, the teachers, how many teachers we earned, how many we were staffed, and so on and so forth. Next slide. Next slide. Next. This is the last one. Okay, next slide. And the next one is a non-staffing tab that just shows, what the district has recommended, the money that's in the reserves at the top, which again is there In case you don't hit your projections, then they take the funding. If you do get your projections, then you are able to use that funding in a different way. If you earn all of it, based on the difference in either the amount of kids that you have over what's projected, as opposed to the amount of kids that you have under what's projected. Again, if you come under your projections, you lose money. If you become over your projections, you gain money per student. Next slide. Here's what I really want everyone to see. Even though our budget is a little bit more than what it was last year, you can see how much we are in the red, right? $2,317,597. That is a lot of funding. The primary reason why is because, I wanted you to see the amount, the average amount a teacher costs, right, alone. So everything has gone up, and we received these nice raises, which I know everyone is really grateful for. But because of that, then each teacher costs, more money. So last year, a teacher cost on average, and includes benefits, about $109,171. This year it is $127,556. So that is an $18,385 difference. We have about 70 teachers. So you do the math, 75 teachers. You do 75 times 18,000, it's like 1 point however million dollars. And that's just, for our teachers. So all of the other positions we have cost more as well. So, very transparently speaking, there will be a lot of changes. There'll be some changes that we'll have to make in order to balance our budget. And again, I'll have a detailed plan of that once we meet again. Next slide. This is Mays' actual reserve and non-staffing tab, which again, I haven't made any adjustments to at this time. Next slide. And again, it's just stipends, money that's in, what's in green and these are not things that I get to balance or touch. These are funds that the district has said, hey, for your academic stipends, you have this amount of money. And then, we have a list of positions that receive those stipends, like department chairs, for all of these stipends for all of our coaches for every sport. So those aren't funds that principals get to touch at all, add to, or subtract from. I just want to make that clear. Same thing for substitute teachers. Yep. Next slide. All right. This is more in detail about what I was saying about the signature programming, and Title I funding. The district is piloting a zero-based budgeting process for our signature and turnaround program funds this year. Zero-based budgeting is a budgeting process that allocates funding based on program efficiency and necessity rather than budget history. Read that, carefully. As proposed to traditional budgeting, no item is automatically included in the budget. As such, the initial allocation for these programs at all schools will be $0. The process: principals will develop proposed requests for the personnel and non-personnel they need to support their signature and or turnaround programs at their schools. Principals will share and discuss their proposals and rationale for the proposals with their school GoTeam for feedback. After discussing with their GoTeam, principals will submit their request for review by January 31st. Funding for these programs will be provided the week of February 3rd. Next slide. So what's next? At our next GoTeam meeting before February 14th, I will have a draft of our budget with how we balance it, right? We will vote on the 11th, and then, cluster superintendents will review February 17th through the 21st. HR staffing conferences will be between February 24th and 27th, which mine is again February 25th. In March, the final GoTeam approval meeting after your school staffing conference and before Friday, March 14th. So I believe ours is March 11th. And so Go Teams will vote on the final budget at that time on March 11th for us. Next slide. Any questions?
Mr. Garner, real quick, thank you so much for the presentation. I usually don't jump into GoTeam meetings. Is it possible that you could share your thoughts around the signature program allocations or thoughts that you're asking for in any turnaround funds?
At this moment, I haven't thoroughly prepared those presentations or those asks. I'm still working on that with my team and with my team and with my associate superintendent. But I will be prepared to share that at my next meeting, GoTeam meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Garner, for the information. It is important that we understand how these allocations will impact our students and the school's overall goals. Let's focus our discussion on the proposed request for signature program and turnaround funds. I think Dr. Garner just answered that. How do you see these funds contributing to our strategic priorities? What are the potential benefits and challenges we should consider? Ms. Bryant? Ms.
Yeah.
Bryant, did you have a comment?
No, I did not. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. Any more thoughts or questions? Okay. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts and questions about our school's allocation and request of signature program and turnaround funds. Your input is invaluable as we continue this process. At our next meeting, we'll have the opportunity to review the entire budget in detail and provide additional feedback to ensure it aligns with our school's strategic priorities and the needs of our students. We will now move on to information items. First is the principal's report.
Yep. Just wanted to show you again, I don't know if we've seen this or not, but just kind of where we are from last year to this year. It's coming close to testing time now. So I just wanted to give you some snapshots of our CCRPI data in the areas of content mastery, where we see we took almost a 10-point jump in content mastery, which is pretty good. If you look closely at these numbers, you can see American literature is still an area of focus for us. And so we're pushing really hard to get these scores up yet again this year. As I was telling the team, this is good. It's nothing negative about making gains, but the bar doesn't change. Like, it doesn't become stagnant. Every time we make gains, the goal for the next year is to improve upon the gains that you made the previous year. And so, our goals are lofty and they are aggressive, and we're working hard to accomplish them. Next slide. Same thing in progress. CCRPI is weighted most heavily for high schools in the areas of content mastery and progress. And so those are the areas that you want to do best in because they count the most for your overall CCRPI score. I believe they both are 30%. I want to say, take that off. I'm not sure the percentage, but I know that they both are the highest percentage. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Next slide. Same really, really big jump in closing the gaps as well. So good gains, but working to get more. Next. Same for readiness. And readiness just measures again, the amount of students who complete pathways, the amount of students who do well on their AP and IB exams. And so that's why it's very important that, we have the very best teachers in those areas who have the proper training. Next slide. And then our graduation rate, which decreased by 0.5%. We're looking for that to be 92%, which is our goal. Next. Is there any more? All right. Additional announcements. Was it something? I'm sorry, Ms. Jenkins. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Garner. We will now hear about additional information items.
Okay.
Ms. Jones, do you have a report for the cluster advisory?
So far, no, from the last meeting. So we haven't met again since the last time.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Okay, we'll now move to announcements. We remind all GoTeam members to complete their budget training in the Ellis platform. If you need assistance with the platform, contact the GoTeam office. Our next meeting will be February 11th. Does anyone have any additional announcement?
In terms of community-based, being the representative over the area from which a good portion of the numbers that I see that has risen here with the Mays High, the NPU chair, we just had our NPU meeting the other week. Our NPU meetings are every third Tuesday, and we are steadily searching for resources such as scholarships, mentorship programs, food spaces, whether it be food drives or we have a lot of food pantries that are popping up now in our area as well. So we're doing our best to make sure all of our community members are getting all the resources they can, especially being the Weatherwise program that's helping our families reduce their bills and energy and making their homes energy efficient to eradicate energy burdens for paying their bills at home. If you are a resident in the MPUH area, Adamsville, that's as high up as Bankhead or Donley, Hollowell, all the way down to right above Cascade, all the way over to 285, straight over to Fulton Industrial. Come reach out to me as Khalifa Lee, your MPU chair at mpuhwestatlanta@gmail.com.
Got it.
Thank you. And here's an announcement. Is this you, Dr. Garner, or me to announce this?
You can. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I think GoTeam, is this what GoTeam elections are coming up, I believe. So if you all know anybody interested in running for GoTeam, here's the QR codes to scan to declare your declaration to run for office. We have reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time? Thank you all today for your enthusiasm for the meeting and logging on. And we'll hope to see you all at the next meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Okay, I motion that we adjourn this meeting on January 28th. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant. All in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
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 All opposed, please raise your hand or say nay. Any abstentions, please raise your hand. Okay, this meeting is officially adjourned at 6:06 p.m. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. You all have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.